So what does Katseye, Justin Bieber, Hybe, and a new boy group that's not from Hybe all have in common? Allegedly a connection to the lopsided bun, who we all know as Missy, who is Katseye's manager from Dream Academy. As an oddly timed negative campaign goes out against Manon online, a lot of Katseye fans are worried about the group's future. I mean, rightfully so. Many fans are blaming Geffen, many are blaming Hybe, and many are blaming the staff that worked between the both of them. Welcome to episode 2 of the Mistreatment of Manon series, season 2. Today is the long-awaited, highly requested staff episode. We'll cover how Hybe Geffen was formed and how they operate. I will also clear up the it's Geffen not Hybe conversation that goes on, because I do believe there is some truth there. I don't think that it's all just one company and not another. And I'm gonna be real, for weeks I've seen so many comments asking me to do a deep dive on the lopsided bun, so I'm finally doing a deep dive in this episode. In this episode I'm gonna do a deep dive on the lopsided bun, and in the next episode I'll talk about the alleged PR campaigns that are going on and the additional stuff. If you're new here, hi, my name is Kinda King. Welcome to my channel. All that I ask is that you press the like button and press subscribe so that you can join the kingdom. It's been so nice seeing a lot of you join the Discord and talk about Katseye with me, or just giving me feedback on things. And it's also been so warming to see everyone follow me on Instagram. My birthday's next month, so I'm just so happy seeing everyone join the kingdom on Instagram too. And for everyone that's in the kingdom right now, whether you joined today or you've been here for a while, grab your tea, grab your coffee, grab your snack. Today I have an iced Americano. And let's get into the suits behind Katseye. And now, before we get into the lopsided bun and the mess that they may be causing, I think we need to understand how Hybe Geffen works. Hybe Geffen is a joint venture between Hybe and Geffen, two different companies, and they came together to make Hybe Geffen. Now, I think what makes Hybe Geffen different from other joint ventures or other projects is that Hybe Geffen is owned by Hybe America. Meaning, Hybe Geffen is not its own company. Hybe Geffen is just a division underneath Hybe America that Hybe fully owns. And I'm clarifying this because I feel like I see stuff online about people saying Geffen staff are the reason why Manon's on a hiatus, or Geffen staff does this or do that. And I think that can be a little bit misleading. Also, I know I play a big part in that conversation. Earlier this year in February, I did my first deep dive on TikTok, and I said that we should be blaming Geffen instead of Hybe. Whenever y'all blame Hybe Geffen for the mistreatment of Manon Katseye, I think we need to start specifying that it's truly just Geffen. So now that we understand the whole Hybe Geffen thing, I want to look at Geffen's problematic past with girl groups. Geffen used to have a girl group called Girlicious, and in that group, Geffen decided to kick out the black girl because they wanted to go into a new direction and not be urban.
I'm no longer a part of the group. I'm no longer a part of Girlicious. You know, in a meeting at the airport, they said that they were looking for the group to not be urban any longer.
I think in that video I should have emphasized that I meant former Geffen staff, because Hybe America / Hybe Geffen has former Geffen staff that now works at Hybe. That's who I meant specifically. But there are some Geffen staff that still do work with Katseye, but for the most part, the whole Geffen company is not out to get Katseye. The whole Geffen company doesn't even really work with Katseye. Geffen has hundreds of artists. I think it'd be wrong for us just to assume that these random employees are affecting Katseye. Which is why in this episode, I'm going to clarify who we're speaking about specifically. But going back to the foundation of Hybe Geffen, since they're not their own company and they're underneath Hybe America, they are always following Hybe rules. Just like any conglomerate, especially Hybe in this case, it's hard for them not to rely on their parent company. In most cases, the parent company really controls their smaller companies, and this is seen throughout Hybe America, Adore, Belive, and Hybe Geffen. I mean, the president of Hybe Geffen, Mitra, she came from Geffen. The reason why I call her or other employees or other staff Geffen people is because they formerly worked at Geffen, and I feel like they still embody the Geffen values that are going on in Katseye right now. Now, I think it's important to go over who are the Geffen staff around Katseye. I'll be able to dive deeper into them in the next episode, but to provide clarity on my original statement, I think it's only right and it's very important for me to share the names of these staff. Now, I know I just talked about Mitra, who is the president of Hybe Geffen, but she got her start at Geffen in the 90s and then moved to different labels and then eventually was pitched to Hybe Geffen. Of course, we have the CEO of Geffen, John Janik. This goes without explaining, but him and the Hybe CEO, Bang, they came together to form this joint venture. Michelle An is the president of Geffen, and she's the head of creative there. She's still employed by Geffen. She doesn't work at Hybe, but she oversees marketing, branding, and like creative strategy. Most notably, she produced Dream Academy along with her team of over 75 people, and allegedly her team was in control of the edit. So I believe truly, if they had footage of Manon being lazy or arrogant or just selfish, they would have showed it, but I digress. It's too early to get into this right now, but I truly do believe that if they had footage of this or this even happened, the president of Geffen and the head of marketing would have said, let's market this clip. Because they marketed lopsided bun saying all this negative stuff about her, why not show the evidence to back it up? I've also been getting DMs and tagged in a bunch of posts saying Manon's hiatus ends in December. I wasn't able to confirm that or like find anything reputable about that. I still believe that Manon could be held up by the Matrix contract, and I believe she could be free from that contract at the end of this month if they, you know, work through the terms and renegotiate it, or at latest February of 2020. 2027. I still believe that, but hey, I could be wrong because February 2027 is 6 months from now, and a lot can happen in 6 months. Lopsided Bun could go to a new company, she could get fired, she could be away from Katseye. The Katseye girls and Lopsided Bun and Manon might all work this out. Don't know how likely I see that happening, but I'm not gonna say it's not impossible. I think with this conversation in particular, we have to take into account that anything can happen day by day. They can work things out, they could not, we just don't know. Which is why I kind of stay away from giving a hardcore fact of saying Manon's gonna do this, because baby, Manon can wake up and do whatever she wants. I also will eventually cover who from Hybe played a big part in Katseye's debut, specifically Manon's debut. And as always, please do your own research. My sources are always linked below, but please form your own opinions, do your own research. Now listen, everything that I get into today will be alleged and in my own opinion and not a fact. For legal purposes, please refer to my sources that are linked below. Things can change day by day, form your own opinions. With that being said, I think everyone knows what I'm about to get into, the infamous Lopsided Bun. And I'm only gonna say her name once, so do what you will with that. Let's get into Missy Paramo, the senior director at Hybe America. Now, she didn't always start off as the senior director at Hybe America. She's originally from Chicago. She went to school there, and then she got a job at a firm in Chicago, and then transitioned to Hybe America and moved to LA. And when she came to Hybe, originally she was the talent and development manager. In other words, she was the manager for Katseye, well, Dream Academy girls at the time, I think. Because I don't think their name was Katseye. I think it was when it was more girls in the group, and they were all attacking Manon for getting sick. She was the manager of all of that. And listen, you may be new here and be like, Kyon, why are you talking about her? What does she have to do with anything? Well, her behavior towards the Katseye girls, Manon specifically, isn't the cleanest. Lopsided Bun would repeatedly talk down on Manon on this TV show that millions of people watch, even putting out in the public that she wouldn't put Manon inside of this group. She let Manon have an intervention with the girls at the time, but then during the intervention that Manon led when she went to speak to the girls, she told Manon to be quiet and just listen instead of reacting back to them.
I'm paying attention to like what's happening in class, even if you are sitting out.
Yeah, but I have been taking notes when I was sitting out.
The thing is, like,
maybe you haven't
2 days ago
seen
you were sitting out, and then Sohei literally had to get your attention because you weren't paying attention. Like things like that. I know, like, you
try to listen instead of react to what she's saying. Try to just sit and listen.
When we first met Manon, there was obvious star quality there. Sometimes people of star quality have this arrogance or whatever it is about them. But with K-pop, there's also this required humbleness and kindness and caring about others and your teammates. I have not seen that from Manon. I would absolutely not put her in this group.
Which I still just find so interesting because those girls were dry hating on Manon. Like, yes, she was sick and she was missing some practice, but to this day, they still haven't showed us any clip of Manon not taking notes, not doing whatever the girls were accusing her of doing. We have no proof that Manon even did those things, so it was just very weird that Manon couldn't defend herself. But a lot of Lopsided Bun's comments fueled the hate against Manon, and they made a lot of Katseye fans or Dream Academy fans feel like Manon does not belong here. I mean, imagine watching the show and the manager of the whole thing is saying she's lazy, arrogant, and selfish, and she doesn't need to be in this group. And then you have a bunch of these girls saying she's only here because she's pretty. It really started to shift the public perception of Manon. A lot of Katseye fans or icons believe that Lopsided Bun and the girls fueled this hate behind her. And I mean, even today, I'll look at Katseye comments or I'll get comments about Katseye and they'll be like, oh, the manager knew something. The manager knew that Manon was lazy, or the manager knew that she didn't deserve to be in this group. And I just don't feel like that's okay. And you may hear all that and be like, well, that doesn't matter, Manon doesn't care. But Manon unfollowed that girl off Instagram. And I'm not talking about in the last few years. I'm talking about in March of this year, a month after Manon was put on hiatus, she unfollowed Lopsided Bun off Instagram. Why would she unfollow her if they were fine? But then just a few weeks ago, Lopsided Bun gets on Instagram and she wishes Naisha a happy birthday. I touched on this in so many TikToks, so many videos. I'm about to give you the spark notes. Naisha is this girl from Dream Academy that commented on Lara's Instagram saying that you'll have to hold it down for black and brown girls and that it'll make sense later. Lara and Manon both unfollowed her after that comment. Okay, so Lara and Manon unfollowed Naisha after that weird comment, but the Lopsided Bun and Daniela followed her, and you still want me to believe that there's nothing weird going on.
Last time I saw you, I was hurt.
If you're unaware, Naisha made this weird comment on Lara's Instagram, basically invalidating Manon's blackness, saying that Lara would have to hold it down for black and brown girls. But after that comment, Lara unfollowed her and Manon unfollowed her. And the Lopsided Bun comments on her Instagram and is supporting her. And we're supposed to believe that Lopsided Bun and Manon are just so nice and happy with each other. Please form your own opinion on that. But personally, I find it weird. Lopsided Bun also continues to pronounce Manon's name wrong, even though she's known her for years. And yet she always goes, Manon. I would never put Manon in this group. How hard is it to say Manon? How hard does it say Manon? I can say Manon. Listen, I'm gonna be real. The first month that I had her name, even sometimes earlier this year, I was like Manon and I was saying it wrong. I was saying Manon, but I corrected myself. Listen, my name is Kyon, girl. People be saying Kyon, Kyon, Kai, whatever you want to say, okay? I know how it feels to get your name mispronounced, so I really tried to learn her name. You mean to tell me that Lopsided Bun, after knowing Manon for 3 or 4 years, cannot say Manon? It just looks weird. A lot of icons have noticed that Daniela and Lopsided Bun are like besties. A lot of fans claim that Lopsided Bun sees herself in Danny, and I feel like that's a little weird. No hate to Daniela, because Daniela cannot control that. Like, this is not Daniela's fault. Let me make that clear. Listen, like, I don't even want to see comments saying it's Daniela's fault, blah, 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 blah. This is Lopsided Bun's fault. But once a lot of Katseye fans brought this up to me, I went to do some research and I'm like, wait a minute, I actually do always see Lopsided Bun around her. Even at interview, sometimes I'll see her at interviews and they'll be talking to each other. Or at festivals, Lopsided Bun will always be around Danny. And like, that's fine, like this is your manager. But how come we never see this manager interact with Manon? You would think a manager of a group would interact with everyone in the group. I mean, you're the group manager. Why is a group manager only focusing on one person in the group? Because of this behavior though, a lot of icons feel like since Manon has been put on hiatus, Daniela has been getting pushed as the center and the visual of Katseye, and they're reheating Manon's nachos on Daniela. But when you put this all together and think about the Lopsided Bun might be trying to push Danny more now that Manon's gone, I do just want to say it is interesting to think about. I don't know if it's true. I don't know what it is. You form your own opinion on that. And in my opinion, I see the Lopsided Bun as Hybe America staff. She's never worked at Geffen, so I don't even group her with the Geffen side. Even though she is shady, I don't group her in with the Geffen side because she's never worked there. Now listen, we're about to go on a long walk because I have to explain a lot to you. Lopsided Bun's boyfriend or husband or baby father is a very, very popular creative director and choreographer for Justin Bieber. And before you comment saying that I'm giving him props for her work, that's not what's going on here. Please just follow along. I promise it'll all make sense. But Lopsided Bun's man worked with Justin Bieber for over 15 years as a creative director and choreographer, and allegedly he's very talented. Listen, this is no shade to him. That's a big feat. There's also someone named Freddie Wexler who plays a role in this, and he reportedly worked with Justin Bieber and Scooter Braun very, very closely. And I always wondered, how did Lopsided Bun get her start at Hybe America? Now, before you comment, please follow the paper trail here. Let's go all the way back to a little bit over 5 years ago. In May 2021, 6 months before Missy is hired at Hybe America, Hybe posts online that they're looking for a talent and development manager. And in the job listing, I want to point out a few things. According to the listing, Hybe was looking for someone that is proactive and problem solving. Let me continue. Also, according to the Hybe listing, they want someone that acts as a resource to trainees and their parents when advice and consult is needed, which is so ironic considering how poorly she spoke on Manon on this TV show for millions of people to see and Dream Academy. But you know what? Let me continue. The listing also says, as ambassadors for the company, it is a requirement that all Hybe members present themselves in a professional manner that reflects positively on the organization and the premium contents and services we represent. In simple terms, that just means don't embarrass this company, be on your A game, and don't have us looking bad in these streets. Which is just so interesting because in my opinion, how is she anything that was just listed? We witnessed her in 4K on Netflix.com talk about Manon, talk so bad about Manon. Like, I'm sorry. Like, Manon ended up in Katseye, but it was not due to this Lopsided Bun's help. It was due to the other staff. We watched this Lopsided Bun call her arrogant, not nice, lazy, say she would never be put in this group, make small little comments saying that, yeah, Manon could do well if she really wants to work hard. Like, girl, come on now. And you're representing this company? And in my opinion, because of this, a lot of Katseye fans and I believe that there's something else in play here. Because if Lopsided Bun was truly just hired from this listing, they would have let her go a long time ago. But what exactly could be the connection here? In my opinion, I feel like we bridge the connection between the Lopsided Bun, her man, and Hybe. In my opinion, allegedly the connection between her, Hybe, and her man is from Scooter Braun, who was Justin Bieber's manager for a long time. And one of Scooter Braun's close friends is Freddie Wexler, who is also a close friend of the Lopsided Bun's boyfriend. Now, if you didn't know, a month before that listing was made, Hybe actually purchased a media company from Scooter Braun for $1.05 billion. And by Hybe purchasing that media company, it added Justin Bieber to the roster of Hybe America. And also because of this, at that time, Scooter was actually the CEO of Hybe America. Now, he has since stepped down in 2023, but at the time of when Lopsided Bun was getting hired and doing all of this, he was the CEO of the company. So just to recap, Scooter is the CEO of Hybe America at the time. His good friend Freddie is working hand in hand with Scooter artists like Justin Bieber and Ariana Grande. And listen, I know you may be watching this being like, how do you know that they're close friends? And my reasoning in believing that they're close friends is because according to Rolling Stone, Scooter and Freddie formed a joint venture between their two companies. If you want to verify this yourself, you can just type in Rolling Stone, Scooter Braun Projects, and The Brain Music, and I'm sure some type of article will come up. It may be behind a paywall, so just remove the Rolling Stone part and you can look up the two company names and find their joint venture. But even if you don't want to do that, just to further emphasize how close they were, according to Rolling Stone, Scooter Braun FaceTimed Freddie with Ariana Grande to pitch a song to him. I don't care if they're close in their personal life, but at least professionally, they're very close. To have a joint venture with someone and also just FaceTime them to work on something means that professionally, there's some type of respect and closeness there. I feel like with the sources and evidence I just provided, there's no way of denying that. Now that I explained that, let's go back to the topic at hand. Lopsided Bun's baby father and man works with Justin Bieber closely. He's worked with him for over 15 years. And because of this, he also works with Scooter Braun, Freddie, and Hybe. Could he have helped Lopsided Bun get this position at Hybe? Whether I believe it or whether you believe it doesn't really matter, because even if he didn't, the next few events don't really make sense. And listen, whenever I watch something online, I'm always questioning who's your source or what is going on, so please check the sources, look and read all the information for yourself. But I just feel like even if he didn't help her get this job, the things that have been happening in the recent years, particularly this year, just do not really make sense. Lopsided Bun's alleged man has started working with this new boy group called JYT, or Just Your Thing, and shortly after this boy group debuts, they're seen meeting Katseye and filming TikToks in their dance studio in LA. Now, how exactly did this boy group, who is signed to Republic and not Hybe, just get connected to Katseye so fast? Like, I'm genuinely asking you, what is the connection between a Republic group and Hybe x Geffen? They're literally competitors. Why do they have some type of weird connection here? And it's because the Lopsided Bun's man reportedly works with that group. And listen, don't take my word for it, girl. It's on Billboard. Everything that I'm saying here is not from my mouth. It's easily verifiable online. But also, in addition to Lopsided Bun's man, Freddie also works with this group, and he is the one that got them signed to Republic. And if you remember what I said earlier, Freddie is friends with Lopsided Bun's man, Justin Bieber, Scooter, and Hybe. JYT also went through this intense training program and like development process, similar to Katseye and Dream Academy. And I mean, allegedly it was led by Lopsided Bun's man, according to Billboard. And in my opinion, there's a conflict of interest here. Suddenly your man is working with this group who randomly trains at the same place as Katseye and Saint Satine, and we're supposed to believe that you're not speaking to him about the training process or at least helping each other out. Did Lopsided Bun's man get training resources from Katseye's manager? Did Freddie or Lopsided Bun's man ask her to help them out by having them meet Katseye and follow their dance trends? In my opinion, it wouldn't be far-fetched to think this considering the clear connection that they do have. But our question of how did the Lopsided Bun get a job at Hybe America still stands. Could Freddie or Scooter Braun have helped them out to get this position in the company? I mean, considering that Freddie and Scooter are very close and Scooter was the CEO of Hybe America at the time, why wouldn't a friend help another friend out? I mean, if I was CEO at the record label and you had a beautiful voice like me singing like Beyonce, girl, come give me a job. Okay, I'm being delusional here, but you get the point, right? I don't think it's far-fetched or out of this world to think that two friends would help each other out. I mean, it would only make sense that Scooter or Freddie allegedly helped them out to get this job position, and in return, Lopsided Bun helped them out by promoting this new boy group that has no affiliation with Hybe whatsoever. Now, I can't speculate online if some of this training material came from Hybe, and I can't give you a clear answer on that, but I do think it's important to keep that in your mind and think about it a little bit. Because all of a sudden, Lopsided Bun's man knows how to train and develop artists, when Lopsided Bun just did that with Katseye. Was information being shared between them? I feel like we'll honestly never know. Like, how could we prove that or verify that? People speculate and assume online that Lopsided Bun could have told her man something, but once again, this will never be able to be verified because her man is not going to come out and speak about it. But I mean, how else do you explain this very, very strange connection between non-Hybe artists and close proximity to Hybe artists? I mean, in this case, why is JYT in the same spaces as Katseye? No hate to either one of the groups, but realistically, it just doesn't make sense. If this was Le Seraphim and Katseye, if this was Islet and Katseye, it would make sense because these are both Hybe groups. Saint Satine and Katseye makes sense because they're both Hybe x Geffen groups. But a random group from Republic Records now being with Hybe x Geffen's group Katseye, and the only connection we can see is Lopsided Bun and her man, yeah, it looks a little weird. But I also feel like besides all of that, I mean, let's keep it real. If any new employee came into a company and was calling a trainee arrogant, lazy, and selfish and just blatantly lying on someone, don't you think that they would be let go? But instead, Lopsided Bun was kept around. She was promoted so many times over the last few years. And I'm supposed to think that it's because of what exactly? Now listen, I don't really want to get into Scooter because a lot of people don't like him, and honestly, he's done so many weird things in the past. For me to show you at least a little bit of the kind of person he is, I vividly remember him making Ariana Grande release this song that she didn't want to release. And you may be like, boo-hoo, she didn't want to release a song. But the song was a pretty deep song, and it was dealing about, you know, some very traumatic things that she had been through. And the song is called Ghostin'. It was on Thank You Next, but he made her put that out. And listen, it's one of my favorite songs, but it's a very, very sad, dark song. This, among other reasons, led Ariana Grande to split ways and not work with each other anymore. In my opinion, allegedly, Scooter just, you know, loves to make money. He loves to do things to create a conversation, which is why, in my opinion, opinion, a lot of Katseye fans and I could allegedly see Scooter seeing Lopsided Bun's efforts and, you know, turning a blind eye to it. Partially because Katseye is doing so well, but also a big role that plays a part in this is their alleged industry connection. And I feel like it happens all the time. And just in case you're not piecing together what the industry connections are, it's fine because I was reading all of this and putting this together myself, so it could be a little bit confusing. But Scooter was a CEO of Hybe America. Scooter's very, very close partner is Freddie. Freddie's close friend is Lopsided Bun's boyfriend. And then we have Lopsided Bun. All four of them are closely connected whether you believe it or whether you don't. And listen, people may want to deny this and be like, okay, this doesn't make sense. Why would Scooter give her a job? But then on the flip side of that, why would Lopsided Bun be helping out her man's new group by having Katseye go and meet them and use the same facilities as them? I feel like we can't just look at one part of this puzzle and think that it just randomly happened here. There had to be something else that happened before this in order for her to link up Katseye and this group. But honestly, I just find it so inspirational that someone from the Midwest found a position all the way out in LA. I guess community in this case is helping out your man and your man's friend's new boy group. And listen, as a native Midwestern man who moved to LA, I just find it so inspirational to see. Some Katseye fans and icons find it interesting if her man allegedly helped her get this position, and as a way to say thank you or a way to pay him back, she connected Katseye to this new group to help boost their popularity. So honestly, what do you believe out of all of this? Because I find it very, very interesting that even if that were all true, Lopsided Bun was so hard on Manon, calling her arrogant, lazy, and selfish, but then you allegedly go and connect a group from another label to Katseye to help out your man and your friend's career. I mean, talk about arrogance, baby. If that's true, then you need to go look in the mirror. Manon was called arrogant and selfish. In my opinion, I feel like this may have been some projection. Because why is Manon called selfish for being sick and taking time off to take care of her health? As someone that is immunocompromised, how is that selfish? But Lopsided Bun isn't selfish for using her alleged industry connection, whether that be connections from her man or connections from herself, to use for her man's personal benefit. But what do I know? I only know what we can verify and see online. And I mean, we can verify that Lopsided Bun's man did work with said boy group. Lopsided Bun's man did work with Justin Bieber, who works with Scooter, who works with Freddie, which would be his Hybe connection. And then mysteriously, they are now working with Katseye. And this is all in my own opinion and alleged. Please form your own conclusions from all this information. I truly do just feel like the mistreatment that Manon suffered from particularly this Lopsided Bun was so unfair and so unjust, and it really just seems like it was all rooted in projection. Because how is Manon lazy and selfish and arrogant for taking care of her health? Wouldn't someone call the Lopsided Bun selfish or arrogant for using her connection to Katseye to boost her boyfriend or her baby father's new boy group? Honestly, I wouldn't have been able to put this together if a few individuals didn't come to me and give me a lot of this information. So I do just want to say thank you to those few individuals that did reach out. They requested to stay private, which I will always respect. Now, with that being said and everything that I was told, I went and publicly verified all of those comments, and they will be all in my sources. Anything that I was told by these sources that I couldn't personally verify myself, I did not include in this episode, and I don't ever plan on really sharing, simply because I don't want to spread rumors, gossip, or misinformation. And while these individuals did provide credentials on where they work or gave me sources to verify where this was coming from, if I'm not allowed to include it in a video or publicly share it, then I don't really care to talk about it, because I know how fast information spreads online, particularly in my TikToks or in my videos with things getting clipped. So if I can't share the source or share the proof, I'm just not going to say anything from now on. But with that being said, what I will say is this is slowly confirming things to me that I have always thought about Katseye and the group behind Katseye. Now, I want to give the biggest thank you to the kingdom for you watching this whole video, like for y'all supporting this series. I love y'all. It literally means the world to me. If you would have told me that earlier this year, sitting down in my chair, this same chair, recording a TikTok doing a deep dive would translate into this full series, I would have said that you're dreaming and that you're insane. So I'm just thankful for all of you watching me and supporting me. Like kingdom, I love y'all down. In the next episode, I will get into who is from Geffen that works at Hybe Geffen, OG Hybe staff, and the alleged PR campaigns going on against Manon. But it seems that Lopsided Bun took up a lot of the time today. Also, the new Katseye EP Wild comes out this Friday. Are you guys excited about it? I am excited about it. I'm excited to share my opinions on it. And I believe in the video that comes out Friday, I'm going to share some of my authentic, raw thoughts about the album from when I first heard it about 2 weeks ago. And to one of the special Kingdom members, I finally finished Hyunjin's Americano. Listen, lately in these videos, we've been talking a lot, so I've been able to drink the drinks, you know, and really keep myself hydrated. Also, I'm sorry for the lighting changing midway through the video. Okay, I love y'all. Thank y'all so much for watching this video. I'll see you on Friday. Bye.